In this episode, I'm going to give you my recommendations for week 22 of the fantasy basketball season for the Sleeper app. Now let's make some game picks. Welcome to the Game Pick Fantasy Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Robin Marks. You can connect with me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Game Pick Podcast. If you love points leagues, dynasty, 9-cat, and of course, Sleeper's new game pick format, please consider subscribing on all channels. And please stick around until the end because I'm going to share this week's game pick sleeper of the week. Now let's go ahead and jump into our big time game picks. So this week I want to do things a little different. As most of you know, I've done video versions of this show. We've done audio. I've been really prepped. I've also kind of freestyled it. And typically we provide value in the form of about 7 to 8 game picks per week. And then, of course, our sleeper of the week. This week, I want to go beyond that. I just want to kind of dig into the actual sleeper app. So you might hear a little bit of like movement and stuff because I'm actually recording this episode on my telephone so I can really get down to providing you guys with some value. So if you are listening to this, chances are you are still in the hunt for a fantasy championship. And that's great. And that's what we want. We want you guys to get some championships, to get some chips. And what I want to do is go over as many of these top tier players as possible so I can kind of, help everyone and really give you some advice on what you should do. So let's go ahead and start with the first player, who is Joelle Embiid. This week, Joelle has 4 games, and it appears as if he has a pretty good setup this week. He doesn't have any back-to-back, so he'll be able to breathe. And I know some of these are high-volume games. So for me, Joelle Embiid is the type of person that you're going to have to play anyway. My game pick for Joelle Embiid for week 22 is I'm going to go ahead and go with the Friday game versus Dallas. The Friday game versus Dallas. Now let's talk about my main man, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis has 3 games. No back-to-backs. His highest projected point total is the Wednesday. The front line, don't get me wrong, they have Sabonis there, Rashawn Holmes. They can't do anything with Giannis. I think he's going to eat them up. On Monday, he has a game against Utah, and on Saturday, he has a game against Cat. I'd rather play him against the Sacramento front court instead of Rudy Gobert or Karl Anthony Towns. So my game pick for Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be the Wednesday game at Sacramento. Okay, we're going to move right along to the king. LeBron James is clicking on all cylinders. I mean, what this guy is doing is out of this world. He is 37 years old, y'all. Like, when I saw a meme the other day, when Michael Jordan was 37, he was like at the bar smoking cigars. This guy, LeBron James, is playing 4 positions, like about to lead the league in scoring. He's about to be the oldest guy to ever lead the league in scoring. It's out of control. I'm just so blessed that I've been able to witness this. He has 4 games this week, 1 back-to-back on a Friday and Saturday. That's worth noting. My game pick for LeBron, I'm going to go ahead and just start the week off strong. It's going to be Monday versus Toronto. Monday versus Toronto. That is my game pick for LeBron James for week 22. And some of you guys who are in Yahoo or ESPN formats, you might be counting it as week 21 or something like that, just because you combined the actual All-Star game weeks. Those 2 weeks are usually combined in some other formats, but for Sleeper, we go right according to the books on what where we are. So let's talk about my main man, the Joker. Jokic has 4 games this week. My game pick for Jokic is going to be the Wednesday game at Washington. He is going to absolutely feast on Washington. Please make sure you play him on Wednesday versus Washington. Next up, I want to talk about my man and your man, Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, actually, he only has one option. You have to play him on a Tuesday. The Wednesday game and the Friday game are both home games. So unfortunately, Kyrie will not be available. I would play him on the Tuesday because that's the only day we can play him. Julius Randle. Julius Randle has 3 games this week. I'm going to recommend that you start off the week with him, or his first game of the week, I should say, which is the Wednesday game versus Portland. Reason being, Portland is an absolute mess. They are playing for nothing, and the Knicks are still fighting. So I think he'll have an opportunity to put up some good numbers. And also, it's his highest projected point total. So I would recommend playing Julius Randle on the Wednesday versus Portland. Next up is my main man, Luka Doncic, one of my favorite players. Oh, my God. I love Luka. He's like one of those kids in AAU who's just way beyond anybody else on the court. He's like playing circles around these guys. Luka has 3 games next week or this week, and he has 1 back-to-back on the Friday and Saturday, which is worth noting. I would say for me, his game against Brooklyn on Wednesday is very interesting. It's not his highest projected point total, but I have a feeling that Luka is going to try to show up and show out in New York City. So my game pick for Luka is going to be Wednesday at Brooklyn. Next up is De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox has 4 games this week. I'm going to recommend that you go ahead and play him on the Wednesday versus Milwaukee. It is his highest projected point total. And, we don't always pick the highest projected point total. That kind of makes it easy. You guys can do that yourself. I think some of the things that we like to keep in mind are the back-to-backs. Are they coming off of a back-to-back? And also the team that they're going up against. Are they going up against a really strong defense, a weak defense? And then the other thing is, if you see a highest projected point total that is like considerably larger than the other days, then those highest projected point totals are ones that I often select. Next up, we're going to talk about Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum has 3 games this week. I'm going to recommend you play him later to close your week out Sunday at Denver. Jayson Tatum has been a model of consistency and good health. I imagine he's going to finish the season strong, and the Celtics are clicking on all cylinders. Okay? Next up, we're going to talk about my main man, KD, Kevin Durant. Ouch! Man, I love KD. He is just awesome. And since he's come back from the injury, he has just been on another level. So for KD, he has 3 games this week: Tuesday versus Orlando, Wednesday versus Dallas, and Friday versus Portland. I cannot say no to him playing Portland. It's going to be like him chilling at a buffet, just eating nonstop. He's just going to be consuming them. So my game pick for Kevin Durant is going to be the Friday game versus Portland. And speaking of Kevin Durant, did you know that Kevin Durant and Mark Cuban invested in Underdog Fantasy? Underdog Fantasy is the best place to play fantasy sports, including best ball, daily drafts, and pick'em. Start drafting in minutes for a shot at big cash and an enhanced game-watching experience. Sign up today and use the code GamePickPodcast. Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. It's like getting free money. Don't miss out on your chance to double up from the jump. To sign up, just download the Underdog Fantasy app on Android or iOS. Now, let's go ahead and talk about DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray, for Week 22, has 4 games. Monday versus Minnesota, Wednesday versus OKC, Friday versus the New Orleans Pelicans, and Sunday at Golden State. All of these games are pretty close in terms of his projected point totals, but the one that really stands out to me is the Wednesday game versus OKC. Like some of the other teams, they are kind of banged up and also all over the place. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been playing amazing. SGA has been on fire, so I'm not taking anything away from him. However, he can't do it by himself. DeJounte Murray is bound to have a great game. I'd recommend playing him on the Wednesday versus OKC. And we're going to do one more, and then I'll give you my sleeper of the week. This is Trey Young. Trey Young has 4 games this week: Monday versus Portland, Wednesday at Charlotte, Friday versus Memphis, and Sunday versus New Orleans Pelicans. I'm going to go ahead and go with his highest projected point total, which is the Wednesday game at Charlotte. And the reason is He's going up against LaMelo Ball. My apologies. He's going up against LaMelo Ball. So in my opinion, players like Trey Young want to show up against these other superstars. And LaMelo is a young guy on the rise, rookie of the year. I think Trey Young is going to be aiming for his neck. My game pick is Wednesday at Charlotte for Trey Young. Now, let's go ahead and talk about our sleeper of the week. I'm going to go with someone who's actually been on a tear here in the playoffs, or at the beginning of your playoffs, but towards the end of the season in general. And that is from the Los Angeles Clippers, Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson has 3 games this week: Monday at Cleveland, Wednesday versus Toronto, and Friday at Utah. I'm going to recommend you play Reggie Jackson on the Wednesday at home versus Toronto. Now, it's been a pleasure. I know you guys are in your playoffs. I want you to do this. Do me a big favor. Please join our brand new Discord server. If you need help with game picks, trades, dynasty questions, team names, the works, to join the server, just visit taplink.cc/gamepickpodcast. That's taplink.cc/gamepickpodcast. Also, don't forget to bang on that subscribe button, share with a friend, hit us with a thumb up, and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you absolutely crush your playoff week. Now get out there and make some game picks.